Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back. And if you want to make a ton of money, be an international individual, and of course, pull a smoking hot partner, hit that subscribe button right now. You're in the right place, and today on this video, we are going to be going over and one thing only, and that is how to overcome the fear and sell with confidence. Now, this is something that a lot of people obviously struggle with, especially when you're just getting into sales, okay? This is something that I definitely struggled with. I had a fear of even talking to people and going up to random people in the first place, right? And of course, selling with confidence to where I knew everything I was saying, what I was doing was going to get closer and closer to closing that deal. So that's exactly what we're going to go over today, so you can overcome that fear, get that confidence, and of course, be a killer, all right? That is the absolute goal of what we're going to try and do. And for you, of course, you want to pull the smoking hot partner. Of course, you want to be an international individual. And to do that, you must overcome fear first. And of course, make sure that you are selling yourself with confidence, right? So we're going to dive right into it. And there is two sides to this coin, okay? The number one side, of course, is going to be someone that wants to do it completely on their own, okay? You want to do it on your own. You don't want any help. You just want to really take that challenge on and do it by yourself, okay? Now, I understand this completely, taking the challenge on to do it by yourself, because there's a lot of pride and ego involved with that. Of course, you want to do it by yourself. You want to prove that you can do it to yourself and to others. Completely understand. However, I would advise the second path, because for me, I wish I would have had it, and it would have helped tremendously. I would have got things done faster. I would have made more money. And obviously, there is a challenge and there is an ego to doing it by yourself. But at the end of the day, you want to do it smarter, not harder, right? And the second coin to this, of course, is doing it with a mentor. And I'm going to talk about both. I'm going to walk you through both and how you can do it, right? So let's get started with the first part of this, which is doing it by yourself. Now, with that being said, okay, if you are going ahead and doing it by yourself, the first thing that you really need to do, and you're going to want to do, is study hard. But when you're studying, you want to not miss a single detail in what you're studying, which means, in simple terms, you want to pay attention to literally everything that you're reading and take it all to heart, right? Whenever you're studying. Now, of course, when you're studying, you can go watch YouTube videos just like this one, right? You could also go and look at many different articles throughout Google, right? Google needs to be your best friend. If it's not, something's wrong, right? Go and Google how to sell, how to get better, how to do this, right? You will find things that will get you there, but you need to pay attention to detail, okay? And the last thing, of course, is books. Now, there's 3 books that I would say you need to read over and over again. And of course, make sure that you are paying attention to the details in those books. Now, one of those books, I'm going to say it right here, is Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. You need to read this book because you need to understand that sales is pretty much everything in your life. It's not just about making a commission and getting that type of job, right? It is selling yourself no matter what, or you will be sold by somebody else. Whenever you're doing whatever you're doing in life, right? It's always you need to sell or you will be sold, okay? You need to read that book. It's an absolutely amazing, amazing read, okay? Now, the second book, okay? I have mentioned this book multiple times on my Instagram and actually referring to this, and this book is called The Black Book, okay? That's all it's called, right? And it's basically the psychology of wordplay, the psychology of selling. And then, of course, last but not least, you guys have probably heard this book multiple times throughout different influencers and things, but How to Win Friends and Influence People, okay? You need to read that book. It's an absolute pleasure to read, and you need to understand how to influence people the right way, be able to talk in a certain tonality, be able to do things right, and of course, win friends, okay? Because that's what it's all about when you're going into sales in the first place, is making a friend first so you can advise them in the right direction, all right? So those are the 3 books that I would recommend. Of course, you can use Google. That is one of the biggest things that you could possibly do, and also YouTube videos just like this, so you can make sure that you're getting all the right information possible. But again, I'm going to say it and stress over it. If you're doing this by yourself, you have to pay attention to detail, all right? You have to make sure that you're getting all of the information and you're not missing a single thing. It's actually pretty difficult, right? But when you're getting that information, take notes on it, read it over and over again, make it ingrained in your brain, right? That's super, super important. Now, the next step you want to do with all this information is actually take action on, right? If you're just sitting around reading the books, watching the YouTube videos, okay, going on Google, looking up these articles, articles and you're getting all this information, that's great, right? That's the very first step and you're doing an absolutely phenomenal job. But if you never put it into action, it doesn't matter anyway, right? And I want to make sure that you at least leave with that. Whatever you do in any of these situations, go put in the action, right? Make sure you're doing the action so that way you can actually see the results. Now, with the action on this specifically, you've just read books, okay, theoretically, right? You've went on Google, you watched a bunch of YouTube videos. The next thing you need to do is put all of this into action. And the things you're going to want to put into action are very simple, right? You're going to want to really focus on 3 things that you read in these books, that you covered in these articles, and that you covered on these YouTube videos. And these 3 things are exactly what you need to put into action. Now, the first thing, of course, is getting comfortable actually communicating with people, okay? You want to be able to communicate everything that you've just read, right? So with that being said, when you're reading the book and you're going over these things and you're going over the articles, find a friend, a family member, somebody that you trust, that you can talk to, and go tell them about what you just read, okay? Take action on what you just read, right? Tell them about the book, tell them about the article, tell them about the YouTube video, and try and teach what you had just learned. That's going to help you abundantly in communicating what you have just learned, and it's going to practice your communication skills as well. How are you explaining it to that friend or family member? What tonality are you using when you're explaining, right? Get comfortable with communication, okay? Because that's going to be the first and foremost thing, all right? Number 2, your presentations. Now, of course, once you've got comfortable with communicating it with a friend, family member, whatever, you're going to want to present it as to why it could be valuable to them also, okay? That's going to be super important as well. And you really need to work on that presentation. How are you going to sell them, right? How are you going to sell them on this can actually help them in their life? This is super good. Practice, okay? Practice, 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 because putting it into action is actually what's going to get you to the next level, all right? And then, of course, the last thing, number 3, being able to handle the objections that are thrown at you, okay? Your friends, your family members, whoever it is, if they don't really care or they don't want to read the book or the article or whatever, they're going to give you objection. And you need to know how to handle that. And you need to know how to handle that by controlling your emotions. You may get frustrated, you may get irritated, you may get mad because you know it can help them and they're refusing, but you need to be able to handle it correctly. You need to be able to talk through it. Why do you feel this way? What's happening? Why don't you want to do that? Why don't you care about it, right? Handle the objection, come to a solution. All of this just to say you need to practice exactly what you've been reading, what you've been learning, all the things that you've been doing throughout that information process. You need to start applying, okay? That's it. Now, there also is a second side to this coin, okay? If you start reading the information and you want to put action into work, all right? The number one thing that you can do as well is, of course, go get a sales job in your city, in your community, and jump right in the fire, right? Start talking to random people, start failing over and over and over again until you fail so many times that it's impossible for you to fail again, right? That is a long process, and that is a process that is very hard because you have to get a lot of no's, right? But it is a process that will shape you into a better salesperson to get ready for remote closing, okay? So with that being said, you could obviously do that. I wouldn't necessarily advise it, but it is something that I did. It is the route I took, and it can help you, okay? Now, the only reason I took that route is because I didn't know any better. If I would have known better, I would have definitely got a mentor after I tell you this second part. But if you want to do that, and if you want to challenge yourself, by all means, go ahead and do it. It's going to be a longer route, but you will get a lot of learning out of that. Now, the last thing that you're going to want to do on this self route, okay, is of course, start applying for online remote sales jobs, get into one, and start taking live calls, okay? Because at the end of the day, you can practice, you can read a bunch of information, you can do a bunch of these things, but until you get in front of a live prospect, it doesn't really matter, right? Because you have to see where your fear, where your anxiety, where your shortcomings, where your strong suits are, all that good stuff on an actual call with a live prospect, okay? So you just have to jump into the fire after you've done all this stuff and actually get on a live call. Now, the cool thing about this is once you get in front of a person, a real person, a random person, okay? The cool thing about it the most is now that you've gone through it, you've done it, you've went on the call, maybe you didn't close the deal, that's okay. Now you can tell yourself, I've been on with a random person already. I know I can do this, now I can get on with more. And that's one of the benefits of obviously hopping on these live calls after you've practiced, after you've got all the information, is you actually can tell yourself, okay, cool, I've talked to a random person now, I did pretty well, now I know I can do it. And then you go. And that's it, right? That's going to be number one to that coin. Of course, being able to do it by yourself, it's crazy, it's amazing, right? If you do accomplish it, but it is a long road and it is super, super difficult, okay? Now, the second side of this coin, okay, is actually going and getting yourself a mentor, okay? This is going to help you tremendously in terms of sales because you don't have to waste time constantly researching different articles, researching different books if you want different books, right? Watching different YouTube videos over and over again. And you also don't have to practice with friends, family, or some random person on the street. And you definitely don't have to jump into the fire, right? and just immediately go to a random sales job and hope you do well and fail over and over again, right? You don't have to do any of that if you go the route of the mentor. The cool thing about the mentor is if you go down this route, which I wish I would have done, most of the time you will get on with this mentor, right? Or somebody on their team. And what will happen is they'll lay out a program for you, an actual help for you, an actual roadmap, right? And what will happen on this roadmap is for you specifically, they will map out everything that you need and also everything that you want, okay? That's obviously super beneficial because you can do it on your own timeline and you can do it the way you want to do it. Now, the cool thing about this is the 3 things that we covered earlier, right? Being able to handle objections and control your emotion, right? Being able to present, and of course, the basic communication skills. Those will all be laid out for you, or should be, inside of the mentor's modules, right? Or inside of the mentor's coaching calls that he's going to have with you directly, right? Those will all be laid out so you don't have to research them. You don't have to make sure you're paying attention to just those things inside of the books and the articles. It's already laid out for you, and it's laid out in a perfect order so that you can actually do it right. That is a huge, huge benefit because you don't have to waste your time. It's really quick, it's really efficient, and it's a whole lot smarter to do. Now, the second thing with a mentor, of course, is practicing, just like you would if you did it by yourself. However, it's going to be a little different. First and foremost, the 3 main things that we just talked about that you need to focus on, they're going to be scheduled particularly in order for you to practice, which is super important, right? That's a super beneficial thing to have with a mentor. Another big thing and a big takeaway is you're actually going to practice with random people inside of the community. It's not going to be a friend. It's not going to be a family member. It's not going to be somebody you're comfortable with. It's going to be a random person that is also in the same boat. Some very skilled, some very new, right? So you're going to get a taste of literally everything you could, just like it's a live sales call. And that is really beneficial because you get to practice not only things that you have just learned and then you have just got information on, but you also get to practice being in front of a random person that you don't know, right? And that is super beneficial because it is able to tell yourself, right? You're able to tell yourself, hey, I did it in front of a random person. I can do this. I can do this over and over again. I'm communicating. I'm talking with random people. And what it does is it gets you comfortable actually speaking to people, right? It helps you overcome that fear and it eventually helps you sell with confidence. That is huge, right? That is something that you really want to look for inside of a program as well, as make sure that you can actually role play with random people nonstop about the things you just learned, right? So that would be step 2. And of course, the last step. The last step with a mentor is probably my favorite one and the one that I wish I would have had, but now I get to see it live all the time because inside of our program and the things that we do exactly what I've just talked about, but we do a really special thing at the end of our program, right? Now our program's super cool because you can get into it for smaller amount of money than what you're going to spend on dinner tonight. You can get inside, be a part of the community, and most importantly, you can start getting the help that you need. But one thing we do at the end is what I'm going to talk about now, which is you actually have to get on live sales calls, right? You have to get a job. You have to apply. If you don't, if you're actually in the right program, they'll place you, they'll apply for you, all that good stuff. However, once you get on these live calls and you actually get in with a random person, okay? Here's the cool thing about a mentor. On the self part, when you're doing it by yourself, you just have to fail, right? You have to get comfortable and say, okay, cool, I failed, that's fine, but here's what I learned from that call, right? However, when you have a mentor, you're going to get on that call. Hopefully you don't fail because you've took so much repping with random people already that you have the confidence. But if you do fail, the mentor is right there with you the entire time, right? So after the call is over, they're going to review your call. They're going to actually tell you, hey, here's where you did amazing. Here's where you went wrong a little bit that you can fix. Here's the things that you can fix. And what that's going to do is not only overcome your fear, but that's going to give you extreme confidence for your very next call because you know exactly where you messed up, exactly what you did right, and you can capitalize on the next one. And that is a huge, huge point. And that's something that we actually do inside of our program. Not only do we place you, but we also go ahead and make sure that you have all of the support you need until you close multiple deals and you can do it by yourself. And that is absolutely incredible. So with that being said, that is what it looks like on 2 sides of the coin, but that is honestly how you overcome fear and eventually sell with confidence. You just have to get the information, you have to practice, and of course you have to just jump into those live calls. It can be scary at first, but you need to take it one step at a time, because if you're thinking right now, man, I really want to do this, but I'm really scared, all you're thinking about more than likely is those live calls, right? And that is scary. If you're just jumping onto a live call and you have no experience whatsoever, it's going to be terrifying. However, if you've looked at information, you've practiced with family members, friends, or you've practiced in a mentor setting with a bunch of different random people, that call is going to be a breeze. You're already going to be ready, right? Now you just have to fix the little things that need to be fixed. That's it. So don't worry about the fear right now. Practice first. first. Get the information first. Take it one step at a time, and I promise you, you will do absolutely amazing. I didn't think I could sell until I did it, okay? That's how everybody is. You just have to get the information first, practice, and then actually give it a try, okay? I hope this video was super valuable for you. I hope you learned a lot from this video in particular. And of course, if you have the chance and you have the solution, hey, go with a mentor. It's going to help you ridiculously. And of course, you're going to do it a lot faster, a lot better, a lot smarter than what I ever did. And you are going to see success fast. And of course, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be an international individual, and you're going to pull a smoking hot partner. All right. So make sure, if you liked this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you want more details on how our program works specifically, again, for less than what you're going to spend on dinner tonight, there's going to be a link in the bio below where you can click on it. You can watch a short training video that I'm going to give to you. And of course, you can go ahead and sign up from there. So if you liked everything, make sure and check that link out if you would like to. Thank you so much for watching this video. Peace.